video, I'm going to demonstrate how we can get Podman Desktop and IntelliJ IDEA working together. When developing software, having access to containers can greatly aid and improve the quality of that software and the speed at which it's produced. For some use cases, rather than using mocks or some shared dev environment, we can quickly spin up standalone instances of those same services, run our tests against them, and when finished, destroy those containers. This creates a consistent environment from which we are likely to create consistent and reliable results. Some examples of services you might consider running containers are relational databases such as PostgreSQL, MariaDB, NoSQL databases such as Redis or MongoDB, or some messaging servers such as Kafka, ActiveMQ, or Redis Streams. IntelliJ IDEA is a commonly used IDE for the JVM. It has many great features and is constantly evolving. It also has native support for working with Docker containers. The built-in features with IntelliJ IDEA allow you to work with Docker to create images, instantiate running containers from those images, and manage them on one or more Docker servers. However, it doesn't currently have native support for Podman, but we'll see how we can use some of the features of Podman Desktop and IntelliJ to allow the two products to work together. For many, Docker Desktop was the go-to solution for running containers on Windows and Mac. However, when the licensing was changed for commercial use, it made it a less attractive option for many organizations. As such, some alternatives have started to pop up. Podman, which is distinct from Podman Desktop, was specifically designed to try and remove some of the security concerns of Docker. Particularly, the Docker daemon needed to run as the root user. Podman can run in either a rootless mode or a root mode. In rootless mode, containers are run under a specific user available on the host, whereas root mode is more comparable to the traditional Docker implementation, where containers are run as the root user. One significant difference is that Podman doesn't need a daemon at all. Everything can be done from the command line without the need for running a daemon. The Podman team has made the CLI directly compatible with the Docker CLI, and as such, it's easy to swap from using Docker to Podman. However, many of the tools out there, including IntelliJ IDEA, didn't use a Docker CLI directly for many commands. Instead, they talk to the daemon via a socket or TCP connection. To enable this feature, the Podman team have introduced a similar concept. Again, the socket can be run in either rootless or root modes. So here are some links that you might find helpful to get you going. But let's get on and demonstrate how this works. Start off by going to podman-desktop.io, and I'll paste the link in the description below. Click on the Download Now button. Choose the installer for your platform, and it'll go to GitHub and download the binary. We'll just wait for that to download. Once it's downloaded, we can run the installer, and it's not really much goes on here. It's a kind of wizardless installer, so we'll just wait for that to complete. Nearly finished. And once it's complete, it'll start up the Podman Desktop dashboard. The first thing we look at is this notification to set it up. So we'll click on that. Click on the next button. And it checks your requirements specifically. You've got WSL and the Podman installation itself, which we don't have. So we say to install that and let it perform that. It's installing Podman version 4.9.3 here. So that's complete. Configuring it, and we've got auto start enabled. So we haven't actually installed a Podman machine instance though. So we'll set that up. And here I have to find 2 CPUs, 4 gig of RAM, and 100 gig of disk space, which are the defaults. Click on create and let it do its thing. Now it's installed, and at this point you could go to a terminal and run Podman PS and it would work. We'll just close that notification. And now I can look around and see features that are enabled and available. If I come down to the settings though, I can see the Podman is running. I can create more instances if I need, but I don't need to in this case. One thing to look for is this compose section. Sometimes you need to set it up separately, but in my case, it doesn't need it. It'll usually have a setup button there if you need it. So to run this in IntelliJ, I come to the IntelliJ settings, go search for Docker. and I click on the plus to add a new instance of Docker. I'm just going to use Docker for Windows, but I'll change the name to Podman. Let's say using Docker for Windows, and you can see it's already established a successful connection. So I'll just click on apply. Next thing you want to do is set up the Docker tools. So again, in the settings section, you come under Docker and tools, and you need to put in these paths. I'll put them in the description below. Once you've applied that, click OK. Now that we've Podman set up, let's actually use it. So here I've got a Docker Compose file with a single Postgres database service inside it. To run the Docker Compose file, click on the double arrows, and you can see it starts to spin up Podman in the services section in IntelliJ. We can see it's starting to download the image from the repository. That'll just take a few seconds. Once it's downloaded,